function is a short function where the compiler will replace the function called by the body of the function. We are written a into a into a. Whatever value here we are given for a, that will calculate a into a into a. In the program, especially in the inline function definitions, are too long or complicated, then also it will not work. Welcome back to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today, we are going to start with the second session of Function Overloading chapter. Whereas already in the previous session, you come to know regarding the introduction, regarding the function overloading. What do you mean by function overloading? What is the main use? Why we need function overloading? Then how to define or declaration of function overloading. Then the restrictions on overloaded functions, that is the drawback of function overloading. Then you have studied one simple program regarding the function overloading. Already I told you in the previous class only, in this chapter you will study only three concepts, that is function overloading, then inline function as well as friend function. Whereas on today's class, you will come to know regarding inline function. What do you mean by inline function? Then the advantages of inline function, disadvantages of inline function, then where exactly the inline function will not work. Regarding that, you will come to know on today's session. Then what do you mean by inline function? Whereas already I told you, three concepts. One is function overloading, inline function as well as friend function. In all the three cases, function overloading, advantage, disadvantages and then program. In the same way, in inline function also, the definition of inline function, advantages, disadvantages, with that the syntax as well as program. In the friend function also, the definition as well as the syntax of friend function, then the characteristics or features of friend function, with that one program you have to study. Then what do you mean by inline function? Inline function is a short function where the compiler will replace the function called by the body of the function. It means that it is a short function. It's very small by nature. It is a short function where the compiler will replace us. The compiler will replace us the function called by the body of the function. See here, whatever thing in that function we are written, that automatically the compiler will replace us when you call the function. Inline function is a short function. It contains only less number of statements where the compiler replaces the function called by the body of the function. If you observe the syntax, on that syntax, first you have started with the keyword inline. For inline program, must and should, we have to use the keyword inline. Then next you have to mention the return type, which type of value of the calculation you want to generate. Then the function name, then arguments. Inside the bracket, you have to write the arguments, and here you have to open the bracket. Then whatever thing in the body you want, especially in the inline function, write on the body function. Then afterwards you have to close that. It means that here the statements are written inside the class only. All the statements are written inside the class only, and here we are using inline is the keyword. For example, here I am to write inline. Then return type means which type of value you want to generate after calculation. For example, I am going to give it as integer. The return type we are given as integer. Then whatever function you want, that you can write. For example, ft is the function name. Whatever name you want, you can give. Then inside the bracket, argument you have to mention. For example, int a I am to take. Here don't put semicolon because now we are writing the statement of this function. Then here inside the flower bracket, whichever statement you want, you can write. Then close this function. It means that the statements are written inside the class only, and here the number of statements are also very less. Here keyword inline, then you have to mention the return type, then afterwards function name, then inside the bracket arguments, then you have to write the body of that inline function. This is the syntax. This syntax itself carries 2 marks in the annual exam. Definition carries 1 mark and syntax itself carries 2 marks. It's a major concept. Then when they come on inline concept, inline function definition starts with the keyword inline. If you observe here, it starts with the keyword inline. The inline function should be defined before all the functions. Before all the functions, you have to define this. The compiler replaces the function call statement with the function code itself, and then they compiles the entire code here. They run little faster. It will run little faster than the normal function as function calling overhead or saved here. Mainly it is a little fast here. Only the executable file size is more here, but it is fast because directly the compiler will replace the function called by the body. Now I am going to explain one example program. Consider I want to find a cube of a given number. What do you mean by cube? For example, if I am going to give 2, then I want to generate the result 2 into 2 into 2, cube of a given number. For example, if I am going to give 3, then the cube of a given number is 3 into 3 into 3. My agenda is to find a cube of a given number. Whichever number we want, for that we have to find the cube. Whereas here we started with #include iostream.h header file. This is the supporting header file for cin as well as cout function. In the program, we need cin function, that is input statement, as well as cout for output statement purpose. For that purpose, we need iostream.h header file. Next here, in this class, we are given the class name is fcube. Fcube is the class name we are given. Then in this, in the public section, we are used the keyword inline. We are given the keyword inline. Then here we are written int. It means that after calculation, it has to generate the integer type of value. Then the function name we are given as cube. Here function name, here we are given as fcube. Class name we are given as fcube. And function name we are given as cube. Then here int a we are given. It means that only one argument we are taking of type integer format. My agenda is to find a cube of a given number. The a is the value which I am getting from the main program. After calculation, the result I want to generate in integer format. The function name is cube and the class name we are given as fcube. If you observe here, we open the bracket and here we are closed this bracket. Especially this function, especially cube function open and here it is closed. We are return a into a into a. Whatever value here we are given for a, that will calculate a into a into a. For example, if I am going to give 2, then 2 into 2 into 2. If I am going to give 3, then 3 into 3 into 3, it will calculate. Then after this, we are closing the class. Here we open the class, here we are closed the class. How we come to know the class is closed? After this, we are written semicolon. From that only we come to know that now the class is closed. How many functions are there in this program? Only one function, that is cube. What is the class name? fcube is the class name. Now in the main program, we are creating the object now. That is fcube, then C. Then C is the object name. While giving name to an object, whatever name you want, you can give. Whereas in this case, the object name we are given as C. Then cout cube of a given number that we are written inside the double quotes. It's an output statement. Then what is the result we are getting here? Cube of a given number. Then it will display equals because that thing we are written inside the double quotes. Then we are written C dot cube inside the bracket 2 we are written. That means on the place of a it will take it as 2. This 2 will copy here. When we call this function, automatically the compiler will replace us the function called by the body. Here, when we call the program, is it especially on this function, is it no? On that time, the compiler will replace us this function called by the body here. That's why the executable file size increases, but it is very fast here. Only the executable file size increases and it is very fast because obviously the compiler will replace us this call by the body. Then here in the bracket, if I am going to write 2, then the result I am going to get 2 into 2 into 2, that is 4 into 2, 8 I am getting. Now is it clear? If I am going to give 3, then for that the corresponding value here it will go to generate. That is nothing but inline function. Here we have written the program to explain the inline function, especially to find a cube of a given number. Here if you observe, the number of statements are less here. Only one statement on this case we have. That's why inline function is called as, it's a short function. Here inline function is a short function where the compiler will replace the function called by the body of the function. Here, when you call this one, on that time, directly it will replace the body. Now is it clear? Next, we will explain the advantages of inline function. When they come on inline function, inline member function are compact function calls. Already I told you, the number of statements are very less. That's why it is very compact. Then the speed of execution of a program is increases. It is very fast here because the compiler directly replaces the function called by the body. That's why it is very fast, but executable file size is more here. It is very efficient. Code can be generated. In this, we can able to generate very efficient code can be generated here. The readability of the program increases. Already I told you, in this inline concept, you will get the question, what is inline function? Write the advantages and disadvantages. Otherwise, you will get a question, what is inline function? Explain with an example program. On that case, the program itself carries 4 marks and definition carries 1 mark. Whereas the main advantages here, the inline member functions are compact functions. The speed of execution of the program is fast here. Very efficient code can be generated. The readability of the program is more here. It is increases. Then next, when we come on disadvantages, the body of the inline function is embedded in the place of the function call. Hence, the size of executable file is increases here. It is very fast. But what happens? Only the executable file size is increases here because when you call the program on that time, the compiler has to replace the function called by the body. That's why the executable file size is more here. And memory is needed more here. Memory is needed here because it has to be replaced by the body. These are the 2 disadvantages of inline function. When they come on advantages, here compact, speed is fast, very efficient code can be generated, as well as readability is more here. When they come on drawbacks, executable file size is more and more memory is required here. Then next, exactly when the inline function will not work properly, this you can write it for disadvantages also. In the program, especially in the inline function, definitions are too long or complicated, then also it will not work. If you observe this example, here if you have more number of statements, then this inline function will not properly work. That is the first thing. Here if you observe, inline function definitions are too long. The statements, definitions, if it is too long, then it will not work. Inline function, if it is recursive function, what do you mean by this recursive? When you want to display some statements again and again, recursive, repeatedly, then also it will not work properly. If you have too many statements, then also it will not work. If you have recursive function, repetitive statement when you want to execute so many times continuously, then also this inline function will not work. The situation where inline function will not work, one is if it is too long statements, then also it will not work. If you have recursive function, then also it will not work. If the inline function has in looping constructs like for loop, while loop, do while loop, on that case also this inline function will not work. If you have in the program for loop, while loop, do while loop, then also this inline function will not work. Then inline function, if it has switch as well as go to statement, then also it will not work. Switch statement, on that time multiple selections we have, on that case also it will not work. Go to statement, unconditionally it will jump from one part of the program to another part of the program, that also in this inline function it is not possible. Now is it clear? Then once again I am to recall whatever thing today we explained. Inline function is a short function, especially here the compiler will replace the function called by the body. Then here we are using the keyword inline, and here inline function should be defined before all the functions. The compiler here it will replace us. They run little faster. When they come on example, there we have inline keyword, then function name cube, and here the return type we are given as integer and only one argument of type integer, that is a. Then when we come on advantages, it is very compact and the speed of execution is fast here. Only the size of executable file is more. Very efficient code can be generated. The readability of the program increases. Then disadvantages, here the size of executable file is more as well as more memory is needed. Now is it clear? Then with that, on which other situation this inline function will not work? On that, if you have too many statements, then also it will not work. If it is recursive function, then also it will not work. If you have looping construct like while loop, for loop, do while loop, then also it will not work. In the program, especially in inline function, if you have switch statement or go to statement, then also it will not work. Now is it clear for all of you? Then on this class, you have studied regarding inline function. Then in the next class, you will come to know regarding the friend function. What is the main use of friend function? How exactly the friend function will work? The features of friend function, then syntax of friend function. With that, you will come to know how to write a program by using friend function. Next class, we'll meet you once again. Thank you for all of you.